Sex Education is a very special show to me. I feel like it speaks to the issues teenagers face surrounding sex, love, relationships, crushes, and gender in a way that no other show has really captured. It is also highly educational, navigating sexual topics I never even heard discussed at sixth form or high school, as Americans call it. I genuinely believe the first two seasons of the show are perfect television, demonstrating the traits every masterpiece of TV possesses: complex characters, phenomenal writing, emotional cliffhangers, and most importantly, an intricate narrative. Characters within sex ed often fit the stereotypes communicated by so many other generic US high school dramas. Jackson is the generic jock, Maeve is the archetypal cool loner who loves books, Adam is the bully who is repressing his sexuality, Eric fits the stereotypical gay supportive best friend, Michael Groff is a cartoon villainous headmaster, and Otis is the weird socially outcast main character who the audience roots for to attain his goals. Yet Laura Nunn, who crafted the show, weaponizes these stereotypes to make deeply layered characters. However, these traits the show once valued highly are lost in season 3 and 4, as the quality of the show takes a nosedive, descending into contrived conflict, romantic cliches, and directionless plotlines. The relationship between Maeve and Otis perfectly demonstrates this decrease in quality. Despite some parts of season 3 and 4 keeping up with the previous high quality of the first two seasons, something about the ending of the show just doesn't feel right. It feels empty. And I think the reason for this underwhelming ending is due to the high levels of anticipation the audience had for Maeve and Otis's relationship. But the writers fail at making the conclusion of their romance convincing and realistic, thus rendering the main attraction of the show, which is their relationship, a failure, bringing down the quality of the rest of the finale. Before we can dissect how the show falls apart towards its conclusion, I must explain why the anticipation for Maeve and Otis establishing a relationship together was so passionate. For me personally, when I was first watching this show, I was the same age as all the characters, just making everything within the show so much more relatable. In particular, the characters feel so realistic, and the romantic tension between Maeve and Otis, which takes centre stage for the narrative, is so nuanced, it makes the show so captivating. Let's first discuss Maeve. Maeve is a disenfranchised teenager who lives on her own in a caravan park due to her mother being a drug addict and her brother being immensely unreliable. This places her in a difficult economic position and a precarious situation, as she has to finish her education and make ends meet to pay rent so she has a roof over her head. To pay for her caravan, her and Otis start a sex clinic together on school grounds in which Otis does the therapizing and Maeve takes care of the bookings to aid students with their sex problems. The Maeve we meet in season 1 isolates herself from the world and has a distinct inability to open up emotionally to those around her, probably due to the lack of stability she had in her own childhood. A facet of Otis and Maeve's relationship that probably draws them closer together is the small social circles that both characters keep. Maeve has Amy and Jackson, and well, that's pretty much it. And Otis has his mum and Eric. They find an intimate connection in one another, and that is where the romantic feelings start to arise. Such isolation for Maeve is exacerbated through the bullying she endures at school, being labelled cockbiter by her peers. Her treatment in school reminds me of how people talk to Geralt as a witcher, if you know what I mean. However, this all changes when she meets Otis. He enables her to become more social and vulnerable. He really understands Maeve, and they form a bond based off trust. He does not tell anyone about her abortion, which immediately separates him from everyone else in her life. If he can be trusted, surely others can too. Otis and Maeve catalyse improvement within each other's lives. For example, when we first meet Maeve, she is having casual sex with Jackson, the most popular jock in school, and he wants to turn it into a more serious relationship. But Maeve, out of fear of trusting Jackson, constantly denies his attempts to make the relationship more serious. This is changed, however, by Otis. He makes her see that being emotionally vulnerable and open to people is a good thing and worth the risk of being hurt, due to running the sex clinic together. Otis falls in love with Maeve right around the time she starts dating Jackson. I severely doubt that Maeve and Jackson would have had a serious relationship without the impact of Otis. Although the relationship does crumble apart due to Maeve realising she has feelings for Otis, it is still a huge step for her character as she becomes open to building relationships with people. This growth that occurs for her character across season 1 is mostly down to the clinic, or rather how the clinic establishes a relationship with Otis. Now, the sex clinic that they run together also benefits Otis, as it allows him to help people, which he evidently loves doing, whilst also discussing sex, which he loves doing. On a deeper level, it opens up his social world. He is no longer an outcast who only associates with his mother and Eric, but he is now well connected in the school and romantically interested in people. I think the clinic gives Otis a newfound sense of social confidence, exposing himself to new people like Ola and Maeve and Lily. The crush Otis develops for Maeve is extremely painful for him, but that is the nature of love. It is simultaneously heartwarming and heart-destroying, and the love Otis has for Maeve opens up his psychology to that aspect of his human desire, which is why, despite being in a relationship with Ola, he cannot live without the clinic, or rather Maeve.
In the first place, Otis. Why not just drop it?
Because we're good at it? And
I think he might have partly dated Ola to extinguish the ferocity of his crush for Maeve, but such desire can only be quelled for so long. The clinic throughout the show, in a way, embodies the feelings the two have for one another, in a way that isn't explicitly romantic. It is a way for them to spend time in each other's company without labels or romantic expectation. They both are drawn back to the clinic because it allows them to be together. After Jackson sees Maeve look at Otis like this, Otis decides to end the clinic at the end of season 1. His crush over Maeve and the feelings he has for her are so strong it is getting in the way of his life, as love is this powerful, especially at such a young age.
I can't keep doing this anymore, Maeve. It's getting in the way of my life.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
Those 5 words, "You know what I mean," carry such weight, perfectly communicating his feelings towards her and how they have had such a great impact upon him, ruining his date with Ola and almost ruining his friendship with Eric. These positive qualities that Otis and Maeve both perpetuate into each other's lives through the clinic subconsciously affect both characters, which is why they develop such strong feelings for one another. They both see through each other, which is what makes their relationship so beautiful to watch unfold. For example, take the birthday present that Otis gives Maeve in season 2.
And I ripped out all your birthday pages so you don't have to celebrate one for another 5 years.
He does truly understand Maeve, from what she wants to her place in the world. He knows she wouldn't have appreciated a flashy gift or something expensive. It is irrelevant to her, and this gift is so thoughtful and endearing, speaking to the feelings they both have for one another, despite Otis being in a relationship with Ola currently. On the other hand, Maeve also sees straight through Otis, identifying that he doesn't work in casual relationships, pushing him into a serious relationship with Ruby. After giving her the gift, she really wants to tell Otis how she feels, but due to the circumstances of their lives, they are still very frustratingly incompatible. The shot after Otis leaves the convo exemplifies how isolated Maeve is without Otis in her life. She is shot alone in school, which parallels the shot after she tells Otis how she feels. The performances from both Emma Mackey and Asa Butterfield are always scintillating. They have great chemistry, enhancing the palpable romantic tension. It isn't rendered explicit here that Maeve likes him, but what this show does amazingly well is the good old storytelling rule of show don't tell. Emma Mackey's facial expressions communicate her love for Otis perfectly.
However, the subtleties and intricacies of their relationship are lost in season 3 and 4. If we compare some of the critical moments for them in the first 2 seasons to the latter 2, the gap in quality is apparent. Now, this could be partly due to the psychology of love translating to TV. The romantic partner you obsess over and crush over is bound to be underwhelming when a relationship is finally attained, due to the high standards you curated for them. And could this be applied to the show? Maybe I'm reaching, but it is an interesting concept. When the audience has been kept on the edge of their seat for 2 consecutive seasons, the climax of anticipation has to be executed excellently, and sex ed just simply fails at this. Take the first big romantic moment Maeve and Otis have in season 1, and compare it to their second kiss in season 3.
No.
But they're not. Just roll up your sleeve, you fool.
The build-up of romantic tension here is excellent. Firstly, Otis gives Maeve his jumper, a romantic act in itself. Then he has to roll up the sleeves for her, bringing them naturally closer together. The jumper itself is a critical symbolic plot device. Firstly, Jackson finds the jumper under Maeve's pillow, making him think that she has feelings for Otis. And we see Maeve critically smell the hoodie. Scent is a key part of love, tapping directly into the brain's emotional and memory centers, influencing attraction, bonding, and even long-term relationship dynamics. This is a huge but very subtle moment for the development of their relationship, and is exactly what I mean when the subtleties and intricacies of their relationship are lost in season 3 and 4. Nothing this layered is present in the conclusion of the show. Anyways, back to the scene. The intimate staring as they wait for the other to make the move is so romantically charged. Maeve's loving stare at Otis whilst he is almost shaking perfectly aligns with their characters. But of course, Otis has to ruin the moment by saying something stupid like, "I am a virgin."
Like, I like you.
I'm a virgin.
What?
I'm a virgin, and I.
This scene is great due to the build-up, performances, and climax. In contrast to this, we have their second kiss in season 3, episode 7. Their first kiss, a couple of episodes previous, is actually pretty good, but this one is just so cliche. The rain coming in as they kiss is very on the nose, and the straightforward dialogue halts any building tension. I wanted to be close to you too. It's straightforward and lacks any emotional nuance, overall making the scene lackluster. I'd describe my feelings towards season 3 of the show as ambivalent. There are parts of it I hate and love, but in season 4 there's a lot more stuff that I hate rather than love, and the main reason for this is the forced conflict between Otis and Maeve. Take the main barrier that they face, which is Otis's inability to perform during sex, which is an internal conflict recycled from season 1 when he tries to have sex with Lily. This plot point feels so wedged into the narrative, rather than a natural continuation of their story. But this is not as infuriating as the conflict involving Ruby. For some unknown reason, Otis hangs out with Ruby and accidentally falls asleep in her bed, rendering Otis a character who is stupid and idiotic, making ridiculous decisions without proper rational thinking. I think he does this because he is mad at Maeve, but what on earth kind of response is that? He is meant to be an intelligent, caring character, but he is now a selfish arsehole. Even worse, Maeve forgives him like an episode later, so what was the point in that? It just delays their romantic conclusion for tension, I guess? It's just bullshit. Maybe Maeve forgives him because she is so broken by the funeral that all she needs is emotional support, and Otis can provide that. It's plausible, I suppose, but let's compare this conflict to the argument in season 2 after Maeve tells Otis that she likes him. This conflict is natural, and the response from both characters is also natural. Maeve's hands shake during the conversation,
Like me?
illustrating the nerve she is evidently consumed by in this moment. She has been building up the courage for this moment for the whole of season 2.
It's really hard seeing you with her every day.
It's just really hard seeing you with her every day. She just chooses the wrong time, which is why it falls apart.
Fair. I liked you. I really liked you. I fucking turned myself inside out liking you.
Otis's response, "I turn myself inside out liking you," is so painfully realistic. He has to leave due to the moral obligation he feels towards Ola. And yet again, they are separated by circumstance. The vulnerability that Emma Mackey communicates is excellent performance. A smile breaks through her nervously contorted facial expression when Otis confirms his feelings for her. This contrasts with the despair and anger of Asa Butterfield. And through these contrasting performances, emotionally driven conflict is generated. The pain their love has caused for one another is on full display. For Maeve, it is watching her current feelings being rejected right in front of her. And for Otis, it is the regurgitation of emotions that he has repressed boiling to the surface. This is how conflict should arise, being built up and executed graciously with matching repercussions, not some bullshit problem shoehorned into the narrative to pad the runtime. Now, hot take inbound. I actually quite like how their relationship ends, contrary to the internet's opinion. These characters are 18. It is unlikely that they would end up together forever. Them breaking up on loving terms is very fitting. It is best for Maeve's character arc as she overcomes her fear of academic rejection to pursue her dreams and complete her course in America. I don't even think Otis has an arc in season 4. He is just an arsehole, but I guess him accepting the decision and realising it is best for Maeve signals that he has some level of intelligence remaining. Quick side note, one thing I think could have really aided the show, and the ending, is if instead of remaining at sixth form, there was a time skip, and we now see all the characters at university, which would allow for the writers to cut some of the characters due to the show becoming very overcrowded. I personally believe this would have been a great idea, firstly, due to how the actors don't really look like teenagers anymore, and it could have allowed for a fresh start for the characters, and new ground for the writers to explore. I feel like the actors at the point of season 4 have kind of outgrown their roles. The university would have allowed them to exist in a more mature environment. Maeve's and Otis' relationship could have been studied years later when they meet back in Moordale or at university. I don't know, it's just a thought. How we get to the ending of the show feels rushed and unearned. Maeve and Otis simply do not have enough screen time in season 4. Instead, it is given to the new characters like Roman, Abby, Elle, and Aisha, who I just don't care about, to be honest. Their last scene together when they make love is quite well made, but it took us so long to get to this meandering conclusion, it was always going to be underwhelming. This is precisely why the video is titled When Anticipation Meets Reality. The first 2 seasons are fantastic, creating such an immense sense of anticipation that I don't think it could have possibly been met. The complex reality of romantic relationships denies the possibility for the ending to mirror the previous quality of the show, and so we are left with this underwhelming mess that is season 4. Ultimately, I just find the ending so frustrating because of how much I loved this show. I felt it had so much more potential, and maybe even feel like the show would sit better in my head if it ended after season 2. They could have condensed Maeve and Otis' story from season 4 into season 3 and ended it there. But still, if you ask me about this show, my memory will always be positive. This is the end of today's videos, guys. Let me know in the comments if you would like another sex ed video.